Right now on Morning News Now, a rush of developments. Authorities in Arizona freeing a man detained for questioning overnight in connection with the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. It comes hours after the FBI released these terrifying images of a person masked and armed, caught on the front door camera in the early morning hours of the day she vanished. The latest in just a moment. Also this morning, tragedy in Canada. 9 people dead, dozens more injured in a horrific mass shooting that is rocking a remote community just north of Vancouver. The suspect, police say, succumbing to a self-inflicted gunshot wound. What we know this morning about what has become one of that nation's deadliest incidents of gun violence ever. Plus, another banner day for Team USA in Milan, notching some history-making medals in mixed doubles curling and in cross-country skiing, where 25-year-old phenom Ben Ogden took home silver, making him the first American to podium in the event in nearly half a century. We are going one-on-one with him in just a bit. And later in the hour, the heaping cup of good news that we all need for all you coffee and tea drinkers out there this morning, why your daily dose of caffeine might just help keep your brain sharp while lowering your risk of dementia. Good morning. It is good to be with you. I'm Jessica Layton, in for Joe and Savannah today. We begin this morning with those major developments in the search for Nancy Guthrie, the mother of our NBC News colleague, Savannah Guthrie. She vanished from her home in Arizona 11 days ago. A person detained last night for questioning in connection with Nancy's disappearance has been released. Now, that is according to the New York Times and other news outlets. The Pima County Sheriff's Department declining to comment when asked by NBC News about those reports. But this development comes after the FBI unveiled chilling new surveillance photos and videos of a person that they are calling a potential subject in the investigation. These images show a masked person wearing gloves and a backpack appearing to tamper with the camera on Nancy's front door the morning she disappeared. FBI Director Kash Patel says that person was armed. So far, law enforcement has not said whether there is any connection between the person they detained and the person seen in this video. NBC News correspondent Dana Griffin joins me now from Tucson with the very latest on this investigation. Dana, good morning. What else do we know about this person who has been reportedly released after being taken in for questioning?
Hey, Jess. So, yeah, this happened all around 9 o'clock last night. Investigators arresting and then hours later releasing this man. He identifies himself as Carlos. The Pima County Sheriff's Office saying that they held him in question and for some time after that traffic stop. And then they also searched a home nearby in Rio Rico, Arizona. That's about 20 miles from the Mexico border. So that man, again, who identified himself as Carlos, says that he does not know Nancy, but he also said that he hopes that they get the suspect because he says it's not him. The sheriff's office is not commenting, saying that the investigation was completed last night into that search of the property. And at this hour, still no sign of Nancy and what may have happened to her. Jess.
And Dana, we know that all of this came after the release of those photos and those surveillance videos that were so chilling. How did law enforcement finally manage to recover that? Because we know that that had been an issue for the past more than a week. And how would you say this changes the entire trajectory now of the investigation?
Oh, it changes everything. The FBI said after those images were released, their tips dramatically increased. And that's exactly what they want in this case, to try to help identify this person. I mean, you can see him. He's wearing a mask. He's got a backpack with reflectors. He's got gloves on and a gun, according to officials, holstered on his waistband. So they're hoping that anyone who sees this will identify something about this person, maybe by the clothing. You can see the light colored shoes, the pants, the zip up jacket. Maybe this can help in some way. And so according to FBI Director Kash Patel, he says that they were able to work with private companies to secure this footage. They used some sort of back-end system. These were images that were previously inaccessible, and we thought that we would never see them. But this is a major leap, the first major significant clue into the person who officials say were outside of Nancy's home the morning she went missing and may have some knowledge about what happened to her. Jess?
So obviously there's so much concern across the country, Dana, for not only Nancy, but also Savannah, because she is such a public figure. How do we know about how Savannah is reacting to the release of these key pieces of evidence in the search for her mom?
So she posted 2 Instagram posts yesterday, one including the images, the second including the videos. And she goes on to write, "Someone out there recognizes this person. We believe she is still out there. Bring her home." And obviously, Savannah is trying to make sure that people keep the story alive and say, hey, if you live in Tucson or beyond, look at these images. We need her. She says she believes that her mother is still alive, and they are just banking and hoping that someone out there is paying attention and gives that tip that could lead to the person identified here on this video. You can see, again, there's kind of a glare, but it appears there's a flashlight in this person's mouth. But if you see the eyes, the build, whatever this person is wearing, if any of this looks familiar, you're asked to call the FBI. Their tip line is 1-800-CALL-FBI. There's a $50,000 reward that leads to an arrest or a conviction and the safe return of Nancy. So, you know, we're at a desperate hour right now. It has been more than a week since she was missing, and we know that she's got mobility issues. She's in need of life-saving medication. So Savannah is just pleading with the public out there to help authorities find her mom.
Dana, thanks so much. Let's hope that this is that major break that we have been hoping for. And for more analysis on the investigation, let's bring in retired FBI hostage negotiator and CEO of the convincing company, Chip Massey, and also digital forensics expert Heather Barnhart. Good morning to you both. Chip, I want to start with you. After the doorbell camera video was released, the FBI said they saw a big increase in the number of tips they received. When you look at this video, the way this person is moving, kind of carrying himself, how significant is this piece of evidence, and what can it tell us about this guy's skill level?
Yeah, that's a very good point, Jessica, because what we're seeing now is, before yesterday when I was talking to you guys, we didn't have any of these images. We didn't have anything except the emails that were being parsed through, the family's videos. You know, now we have so much more information. And you can tell by the way this man is moving. The way he lumbers up to the camera area, to where the front door is. Clearly he's trying to disguise how he walks. That's not going to work. There is so much here we're going to be able to know his height, likely his weight, his shoe size, and the clothes he's wearing. All these become identifiers. The law enforcement is going to start going through. They probably already have it. Where those gloves were purchased, where his coat was, what kind of shoes these are, what size his feet are, and in that video, you'll see where he goes and he's turning around and he goes awkwardly to the front area, pulls up some shrubs and holds them up to the camera. There's a lot of indecision in this. In other words, this is not somebody who is extremely competent in what he does. It's not that professional, in other words. So there are many things about this, but here's the thing. This guy, somebody knows. Somebody is going to look at these pictures and this video and be able to identify him. You know, it's one of those things, right? When you're at some kind of event, you're at a restaurant or something, you see somebody from behind that you instantly recognize them. Why? Because you know that person. You know their gait. You know how they move around. Trust me, somebody knows them, and we urge you to call that tip line.
And and thank goodness that this video and these pictures are finally out there. Heather, we know the cameras were tampered with on the property, but still people want to know why it took more than a week, 10 days really, for the FBI to recover and then release the images. Walk us through how difficult this material was to find.
If she had a subscription and the cameras were still attached to her home, this could have been done quickly, within hours, and examiners would be able to look at that. But because the cameras were tampered with, one was taken, and the back end footage, law enforcement can't request what they don't know exists. So if you had that camera right there, they could get search warrants, they would have access to it. But because this was back end data from a repository where the camera was recording, it can be life-saving in this instance. But if law enforcement had known, I am sure it would have been requested and they would have had access to it days ago.
Heather, let's talk about details. From a digital forensic standpoint, is the quality of these images good enough to be able to figure out what kind of brand of jacket or ski mask or backpack that person is wearing?
Absolutely. And this is typical on what this kind of footage looks like. The fact that the subject here walks away and keeps approaching the camera, and as you two just stated, he gave a full view of what he looked like, what his backpack brand is, what his clothing looks like, his gait, his stature, even his mannerisms right there as he's walking back and indecisively trying to do something. Someone will be able to identify who this is. And I really think we can use AI to potentially get ideas on what he may look like with his mask off.
Chip, now that we have these images and they are being shared all over the world, really, how might it change the direction of the investigation? What would you say is likely on law enforcement's to-do list today that maybe wasn't on their radar yesterday?
Oh, yes, exactly, Jessica. They've got now so much more information. And the interesting part about this now is that, you know, the kidnappers, the abductors, they had a little bit more room to function before this video came out. You know, there's so many factors in this. You know, the mother is medically fragile. She is older. There are so many things that the kidnappers have to account for in her environment. So they have to keep her well. They have to look after her. That's a lot. And a lot wherever they're holding her, that property, they have to be very careful about their comings and goings. But now that we have this video, their world, the abductors' world, got very, very small. That they're now under a microscope, and the pressure is on them now. So because they know somebody is going to be able to identify who this guy is, just like they said. So please, we ask you emphatically, call that tip line. Somebody knows him.
And then finally, Heather, the ransom notes have been a huge topic of conversation this week. What goes into verifying whether those emails or the crypto accounts that they wanted the ransom money deposited into are actually connected to the disappearance? How do we know if they are all legitimate or not?
One of the easiest approaches is to look at the email headers and reach out to those service providers to identify if they're legitimate or not. Now, crypto is a little bit more difficult. Criminals and others get crypto to remain anonymous. That's the whole point of it. It's fast-moving transactions. It's really difficult to track. So one person could easily set up 5 crypto wallets and they're gone within minutes.
Chip Massey and Heather Barnhart, you have both given us so much analysis and some important takeaways from this major developing story this morning. Thank you both so much. Turning to politics now, and just released this morning, an NBC News Decision desk poll of nearly 22,000 adults showing President Trump's job approval rating remains underwater, with 39% approving, 61% disapproving. Immigration had been one of his strongest issues, but his numbers on the handling of border security now nearly match his overall approval. That is a major shift that could make the White House take some notice. Respondents feel enforcement has gone too far. They also mostly blame the Trump administration for the recent unrest we've seen in Minneapolis. And that comes as NBC News has learned the Justice Department tried and failed to secure an indictment against 6 Democratic lawmakers over a video urging military and intelligence officials to refuse unlawful orders. For more on all this, let's bring in NBC News political reporter Megan Leibowitz. Megan, good morning. Let's start with this major development that the Justice Department trying and failing to indict those 6 lawmakers over the video. How unusual is it for a federal grand jury to decline to indict in a case like this? And then what exactly happened here?
Yeah, good morning. So U.S. Attorney Jeanine Pirro's office had tried to bring this case initially. And just to set the scene here, this comes, as you mentioned, months after those lawmakers had released a video telling military and intelligence community people that they had to refuse illegal orders. Now, President Trump at the time had slammed this video, calling it seditious behavior punishable by death. Now those lawmakers who had appeared in that video are speaking out after these failed indictments, criticizing the Trump administration for weaponizing the Justice Department in their words, and pursuing a case like this, and also calling it an abuse of power here. Now, the Justice Department has previously tried to bring other cases against the president's political opponents. Not all of those cases have been successful, though. For example, the Justice Department tried to bring cases against New York Attorney General Letitia James, former FBI Director James Comey. Those cases had ultimately been tossed by a judge. Now, NBC has also previously reported that the Justice Department tried and failed 2 more times to secure indictments against Letitia James. So it's not entirely unprecedented here for the Justice Department to not be able to secure indictments like this.
Megan, we saw hearings on Capitol Hill yesterday get really heated. Attorney General Pam Bondi is testifying before a congressional committee later today, which of course comes against the backdrop of this failed indictment. What do you think lawmakers will press her on?
Yeah, so this is an oversight hearing, so lawmakers can press her on all of these hot button topics. Things like those failed indictments will likely come up. But one of the big issues that we're expecting to hear from lawmakers on is the Justice Department's handling of the Epstein files. Remember, this hearing comes just days after the Justice Department has released millions more documents related to the Epstein files. Now, for critics of the administration's handling of all of this, they're pushing for more documents to be released and more transparency from the Trump administration. So Thomas Massie, for example, a Republican, had told CNN this week about some of the things that he hoped to press Attorney General Pam Bondi on. Things like, where are the rest of these documents? Pressing her on things about why some victim information had accidentally been released in those documents, and questions about redactions in those documents as well. Now, also today, we're expecting some Epstein survivors to be on Capitol Hill again, keeping this topic front and center during this hearing today. Now, Attorney General Pam Bondi had previously testified before lawmakers this past fall. That had gotten pretty tense at times. Ultimately, it lasted longer than 4 hours, so we could be in for a fairly lengthy hearing today, Jessica.
Megan, I want to go back to the new poll numbers that we talked about, and voters seeming to blame the Trump administration over border security and the recent unrest that we've seen, especially in Minnesota, especially against the backdrop of this being a midterm election year. What kind of snapshot is this giving us into the political moment that we are at right now?
Yeah, that's right. So on your screen, you can see how voters are feeling about who deserves most of the blame for the clashes and unrest in Minnesota. Remember, this poll had been conducted in the aftermath of Renee Good and Alex Preddy being shot and killed. So the Trump administration, voters had said, deserves most of the blame. One of the big numbers that I want to point you to, though, is the percentage of U.S. adults who strongly disapprove of the president's handling of border security and immigration, as well as you see on your screen, people who think that U.S. immigrations and customs enforcement should be reformed or abolished. Most voters said that they should be reformed or abolished, as opposed to less than a third saying that they should continue in its current form, Jessica.
Megan Leibowitz with so much information for us this morning. Thanks so much. It has now been 12 days since the Department of Justice released more than 3.5 million documents relating to Jeffrey Epstein, and new details keep coming to light. And they include a new revelation that an official said President Donald Trump warned local law enforcement in Florida about Epstein 20 years ago. NBC News Now anchor Helly Jackson has those details.
Newly released documents say President Trump personally warned officials about Jeffrey Epstein decades ago. An FBI interview summary describing how President Trump called the then Palm Beach police chief to tell him, "Thank goodness you're stopping Jeffrey Epstein. Everyone has known he's been doing this." Adding people in New York knew Epstein was disgusting.
He kicked Jeffrey Epstein out of his Mar-a-Lago club because Jeffrey Epstein was a creep, and that remains true. And this call, if it did happen, corroborates exactly what President Trump has said from the beginning.
But President Trump said this in 2019.
No, I had no idea. I had no idea.
The former Palm Beach police chief, Michael Ryder, not commenting to NBC News, but telling the Miami Herald the interview with Donald Trump happened in the summer of 2006. According to the document, the president told Ryder he was around Epstein once when teenagers were present, and Mr. Trump said he got the hell out of there, and added about Epstein's convicted co-conspirator Ghislaine Maxwell, she is evil, and to focus on her. Newly released video shows Maxwell, now in prison, declining to answer lawmaker questions Monday.
I invoke my Fifth Amendment right to silence.
It's coming as Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick's under fire for his connection to Epstein, his former next-door neighbor, last year saying this about a 2005 visit.
My wife and I decided that I will never be in the room with that disgusting person ever again.
But DOJ records show Lutnick did interact with Epstein again.
Did you, in fact, make the visit to Jeffrey Epstein's private island?
I did have lunch with him as I was on a boat going across on a family vacation. My wife was with me, as were my 4 children and nannies.
Lutnick has not been accused of wrongdoing in connection with Epstein, saying he had no relationship with and barely anything to do with Epstein.
Hallie Jackson, NBC News.
All right, Hallie, thank you. Well, finally, temperatures seem to be warming up from the southwest to the southeast and even here in New York. For more, let's take a look at your Morning News Now weather. Meteorologist Andrea Romero joining us now. Andrea, you are the bearer of good news today.
Yeah, all week you've been asking me, when is it going to warm up? Well, it seems like most of us will be enjoying above average temperatures, 15 to 25 degrees, and that's extending all the way from the southwest into the Rockies, into the Mississippi Valley, and into the southeast, even extending up into the Midwest and the high plains. Here in the Northeast, it's warmer. It's closer to average. The temperatures are going to be close to 40 in the New York City metro area this afternoon, so that's really close to average. And in other areas, we can see those temperatures that are a lot warmer. We're looking at temperatures in the 70s and the 60s along Texas and along the Gulf Coast states, even into the Florida area. Daytona Beach, for example, 74 degrees is expected this afternoon as the high temperature. We're expecting temperatures in the 50s in parts of Kansas. Tomorrow, the warmth will continue. In the Northeast, the temperatures will drop a little bit, but it will still be tolerable into the weekend. As we can see, the temperatures will be hovering around average for this time of year. Now, we do have that unsettled weather pattern continuing across the west. Rain showers. We have the risk of some flash flooding still in parts of California, and that rain and that snow will be spreading into the Rockies. Light snow for elevated areas of Utah and Colorado is expected tomorrow, but those areas do need snow, and a bit of rain is expected in the valleys. We do have some New England snow that will be impacting the area this morning. We can see that lake effect snow coming off of Lake Erie, Lake Ontario. We're looking at those winter weather advisories that are in effect, and we're expecting accumulations possibly of up to half a foot in those regions.
I think we're going to see a lot of T-shirts and shorts in the Northeast today because it is just, I mean, a 30-degree increase over the last few days is amazing.
Well, considering that this weekend we were with temperatures that were feeling 20 degrees below zero, and now we're in the 40s, that's a big jump.
That's a huge jump. Andrea, thanks so much. Much more to come on this hour of Morning News Now, including Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu back in Washington for yet another high-stakes meeting with President Trump today. We'll tell you what that's all about. But first, after the break, the very latest on a heartbreaking mass shooting in Canada that police there say left 9 people and the shooter dead. Stay with us. And we are back now with some breaking news out of the Canadian province of British Columbia. Police say a gunman killed 7 people at a high school, and 2 others were found dead at a nearby home believed to be connected to the shooting. The suspected shooter was also found dead from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. At a news conference last night, Superintendent of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, Ken Floyd, said they believe they were able to identify the shooter but are not releasing a name yet given the ongoing nature of this investigation. Police say they arrived at the high school Tuesday afternoon, 2 minutes after they got that report for gunfire. An estimated 25 more people suffered non-life-threatening injuries at the school, which is located in the foothills of the Canadian Rockies. Police say at this time they are not aware of a motive yet. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is expected to meet with President Donald Trump in Washington this morning. This meeting comes at a key moment with the U.S. negotiating with Iran about the Islamic Republic's nuclear program. NBC international correspondent Matt Bradley joins me now from Tel Aviv with those details. Matt, good morning. For a few days there last month, it looked like the U.S. would launch military strikes on Iran. So what is Netanyahu expected to push for today?
Yeah, it really did look like that. And, I wouldn't count it out so soon. The U.S. is still piling more naval assets, military assets, Air Force power into the Middle East, waiting for the moment when they might have to or might want to attack Iran. But this visit by Benjamin Netanyahu, and this is his 7th visit to the president ever since he took office back a year ago. The prime minister is by far President Trump's best customer among world leaders. But this visit is about something very specific. Prime Minister Netanyahu, according to the local Israeli press, is going to be pressing President Trump to include in those negotiations that are ongoing with the Iranians in Oman that they want the Iranians to limit the extent of their ballistic missiles. Right now, the main focus, as it has been for decades, of those negotiations between Washington and Tehran is all about the nuclear capabilities, whether or not Iran has the right to enrich uranium and use it on weapons. So the Iranians, of course, insist that they're only using these for civilian purposes, for energy. Israel now wants its ballistic missile capability, conventional weapons, to be limited. And that's something that, they learned the hard way. Last year, we saw that the Iranians pummeled this city, Tel Aviv, as well as others throughout Israel, with multiple ballistic weapons that quietly surprised the Israeli leadership, both in their volume and in their strength. We saw not large numbers of dead from that, but we did see a real fight by the Iranians. That's something the Israelis want to avoid through these negotiations.
Matt, I want to go back to the nuclear weapon program. Iran is still reeling, of course, from its 12-day war with Israel that last year, which ended with U.S. strikes on Iran's nuclear sites. Trump said of those strikes, quote, that they obliterated Iran's nuclear capabilities. What do you know about where exactly Iran's nuclear program stands right now?
Well, that's the big million-dollar question, isn't it? And if I knew that information, I'd probably be in Washington sharing it. But the fact is that what we're seeing now is some movement around some of those facilities that the U.S. actually targeted. And that really just goes to show that if there's some movement, maybe there's some residual capacity for nuclear enrichment that the Iranians still have. So there have been assessments by various independent actors, by the United States themselves, saying that actually the Iranian nuclear program wasn't set back nearly as much as Trump said or wanted, and that American officials know this in private.
All right, Matt, thanks so much. Coming up, stimulating the body and mind when we come back, why your daily dose of caffeine or tea might actually lower your risk of developing dementia. The doctor is in next on Morning News Now. And we're back now with our weekly medical checkup. And this week, we're bridging the gap between the mind and the body with the best exercises to help protect your mental health. Plus, there is good news for coffee and tea lovers, all of us on this shift. Those cups of coffee may actually help keep dementia away. Here to break down these health headlines and more is NBC News medical contributor Dr. Akshay Syal. Dr. Syal, great to have you. I want to start with a study which pinpoints the most important factors that may cause food allergies in kids. As a mom to a child with a nut allergy, I have racked my brain trying to figure out if we could have done anything different. What does this study tell us?
Good morning. Yeah, so, this is, as you just pointed out, this is a bit of controversial or sort of hot topic in medicine recently. And, we've seen a surge in food allergies over the years, and researchers have kind of sort of wondered why and what might be going on. And so, Jessica, this was a large study out of McMaster University. Nearly 3 million kids were analyzed. And you can see on the screen there, they've identified some risk factors, people who may be more likely to experience those food allergies, people who have eczema during the first year of life, waiting too long to introduce certain foods, which I'll get to in a second. Using antibiotic use, or even having siblings or family members with food allergies, all can make those kids higher risk of having food allergies. And the reason, Jessica, this is so important is because if we find out who may be at high risk with more research, we can potentially intervene earlier. And so the doctor's orders, as we love to do in this segment, control what you can and make sure that you are introducing some of those allergy-prone foods early. So, you just alluded to this about when to introduce things. The American Academy of Pediatrics typically recommends about 4 to 6 months of age is when you start to introduce things like, first you start with low allergy things like cereal, for example, or bananas, eventually working your way up to potentially including peanuts. And we think the earlier you can do that, the less likely they are to have problems down the line.
Next, we know that exercise is really important for overall health, but a review of studies found that certain kinds of exercise may be able to help treat symptoms of depression and anxiety. So we have heard before that exercise is medicine. What is the best approach to benefit from these positive results?
Yeah, this was another large study, a large review study looking at about 800 or so papers, and really finding that cardiovascular exercise can reduce symptoms of depression and anxiety, really to the point, Jessica, as good or if not better than certain medications and talk therapies. And really what we're talking about are group classes. They can help reduce symptoms of depression and anxiety. And I've actually been trying to get some of my family members to do this, who maybe can't get the sort of motivation to get into the gym, to signing up for some of those classes, because there's a big social component to it, right? You're surrounded by a bunch of people all sort of there for the same goal, all working out in unison. So definitely something you want to try if you are suffering from symptoms of depression or anxiety. But Jessica, the doctor's orders here, try to incorporate some of that exercise routine, some of those group classes we just talked about, but please don't stop your ongoing treatments without talking to your doctor. So for example, if you are taking medications for depression or anxiety, don't throw them in the garbage bin and start working out. You want to make sure that your doctor is aware should you want to stop coming off of them. Jessica.
And then finally, doctor, researchers are saying that our brains may actually benefit from a little caffeine every day. Break this one down for us, because everyone here on this shift is very curious.
I always love when we can talk about coffee segments on the morning show. The irony is not lost on me. But, this was essentially a paper from Mass General, looking at over 100,000 individuals. What they found that 2 to 3 cups of coffee or 1 to 2 cups of tea are linked to a lower risk of dementia, about 300 milligrams of caffeine specifically. Now, this is not a cause and effect study. This does not prove that taking caffeine will directly lower your risk of dementia. It also does not say for people who, don't drink coffee or tea to start drinking it. But the doctor's orders here, keep refilling those cups if you are somebody like me who is a daily coffee drinker, and know other things you can do to reduce your risk of Alzheimer's. Everything that's good for your heart is also good for your brain, whether that's blood sugar, blood pressure, cholesterol, all of that matters.
Well, that gives me the confidence to go get another cup right after this segment. Dr. Sayal, great to see you, and thanks for joining us. Much more to come right after this. We're back with that landmark social media addiction trial that's happening right now in Los Angeles. A 20-year-old California woman called Kaylee in court and her mom have accused Meta and YouTube of creating addictive platforms that are harming children's mental health. During day 2 of opening statements yesterday, a lawyer for YouTube argued it is not a social media platform. He said it's designed for entertainment where people can learn new skills or get tutorials, not endlessly scroll. He also said that many of YouTube's features that the plaintiff describes as addictive can be turned off. Both YouTube and Meta have disputed all of the allegations against them. All right, NBC News legal analyst Misty Maris is here to break down the latest on this. Misty, good morning. This is a complicated one, and one that I know every parent is paying attention to. I want to talk about the 2 defenses here. On Monday, Meta's legal team claimed that Kaylee's mental health struggles stemmed from abuse and bullying, not her Instagram habits. Yesterday, YouTube pointed to medical records, hundreds of them, hundreds of mental health sessions, I should say, where YouTube was only mentioned once, and it was supposedly to help her fall asleep. Who do you think has the stronger case?
Well, it's the way this is all going to play out is that the plaintiff, so in this case Kaylee, has the obligation to prove that if Meta and YouTube did something wrong, so if there was a breach of a duty, if this was an addictive app, that is actually what caused her mental health problems. And so that's why you see in these opening statements, the defense is going to be focused on breaking that chain of causation and essentially saying that these mental health issues were caused by other things in her life and cannot be legally tied back to her use of these platforms.
It still brings up the question, though, of how much is too much and where does the responsibility lie? The head of Instagram is supposed to testify today. What do you think we'll hear from him?
So, again, this is going to be another focus that we heard in the opening statement. So one thing that you're going to hear is about the fact that this is third-party content that's being posted on these platforms. Now, there's a law that says these platforms cannot be held liable for what other people post. So you're going to hear a causation argument and some testimony relating to that about whether or not it is actually the algorithm of social media that caused this harm, or is it something that this individual person viewed. And again, with YouTube specifically, in opening statements, they made a unique argument from Meta, and they said, we're more like an entertainment platform. We're more like Netflix. People are watching this to learn how to cook, to learn how to sing, for all of these other entertainment purposes, not necessarily the same way as social media. So I think you're going to hear in the testimony today the witness trying to make those distinctions with respect to YouTube.
And a lot of parents I know might say, well, what about the YouTube shorts? But that's a whole other thing.
Yes, well, interestingly enough, they said that there is actually a function to turn that off. So that's another area where you're going to hear testimony about what types of features exist on these platforms that allow for some control about content that an individual, especially a child, can actually watch. So you're going to hear a lot about the way that these apps are designed, the way that these platforms are designed.
So putting that back on mom and dad. Kaylee's lawyer said he's not going to make her testify. He's worried about her fragile mental state, but or rather, he will not make her listen to testimony, but she will testify. Excuse me. So how do you think that this will impact the case? Will it sway the jury?
I mean, this is going to be a really, really difficult case for the plaintiff here, who they're calling Kaylee, because she's going to have to basically sit through all of the mental health records that we heard alluded to in opening statements and discussions of all of these traumas that have gone on in her life. So she's not going to be in the courtroom. But remember, this is a civil case. In a civil case, you do not have the ability to remain silent. You actually have to testify.
Have to testify. All right, Misty Maris, a lot to watch for today. Thank you so much. Moving now from phones to finance, incarcerated crypto connoisseur wants a new trial. NBC News business and economy reporter Ali Canal has your Money Minute. Ali, good morning.
Good morning, Jess. Yeah, Sam Bankman-Fried, the FTX founder, is currently serving a 25-year sentence for fraud and conspiracy after the collapse of his crypto exchange. He's now arguing that two former executives could undercut the government's claim that he defrauded customers and misused billions in funds, though legal experts call it a long shot bid. Meanwhile, Lyft hitting a bit of a speed bump. Shares are sinking this morning after the company posted weaker than expected revenue and rider growth for the fourth quarter. Even so, Lyft did announce a $1 billion stock buyback. This basically means it plans to use company cash to repurchase its own shares. It's a move that could boost earnings over the long term. Now, the ride-hailing giant also said that lower insurance costs in California could help drive demand over time, but that really wasn't enough for investors. If you take a look at shares, they're currently down nearly 20% in early trade. And from ride shares to resale, Zara T-shirts worn by Bad Bunny during the Super Bowl halftime show, they're now popping up on sites like eBay for, get this, a cool $35,000. It comes after Zara's parent company distributed them to a limited number of staff after collaborating with the rapper for the show. Now, the brand says the shirts were never meant for public sale, but the resale market clearly had other ideas. So there you go, Jess. If you want to look like Bad Bunny, all you need is a computer and 35 grand, and then you're set.
You know what? I won't worry about it because I can't look as cool as Bad Bunny anyway.
Exactly.
Ali, thank you so much. Coming up, American history made on the slopes of Italy. When Morning News Now returns, we're going one-on-one with a 25-year-old cross-country skiing phenom who just notched Team USA's first medal in the event in nearly 50 years. Vermont's own Ben Ogden joins us next. Back now with highlights from a historic day at the 2026 Olympic Winter Games in Milan Cortina. From ending a 50-year American medal drought in men's cross-country skiing to the first American woman to win a curling medal, Team USA has a lot to celebrate this morning. And celebrating with them is NBC News correspondent Jay Gray. He is in Milan and joins us with the latest. Jay, good morning. Let's start with one of our favorite winter sports, curling. Team USA, they made history yesterday.
Yeah, it was amazing, Jessica, and such a tight match. The gold medal match, Team USA going for it, and the Coreys, the curling Coreys making history. We'll start with Corey Teesey. She's the first American woman to ever win a medal in curling for Team USA, and then you've got her partner, Corey Dropkin. That duo, the first ever in mixed doubles to win a medal. The match came down to the final stone. Unfortunately, Sweden had the hammer, knocked the USA out, won by 1 point. But golly, what a showing. It was a great job by Team USA, and really proud to see them take to the podium.
I'm so proud of them, too. Let's also talk about last night's hockey match. The U.S. women's team beating Canada 5-0. I don't know if anyone saw that coming, but it's the largest U.S. win over Canada in Olympic hockey, men or women, ever. Tell me what that arena was like last night.
It was electric. I got the chance to be there, and it was so great to see this team. They came out early, scored early. They were first to the puck every time. They were all over the ice. They gave the Canadians the business a couple of times in the corners, and they made sure they knew that they were there to stay. Think about this. Team Canada, women's hockey, has only lost 4 games total in all of their Olympic history, all of those to the U.S., so go Team USA. And they've never been shut out until last night. So that was a big win, a historic win for the women. And now they go into the medal round, and they look like the team to beat.
Well, and speaking of historic wins, Jay, cross-country skier Ben Ogden is the first American to win a medal for the sport in nearly 50 years. So let's talk about him and this phenomenal accomplishment.
Isn't that amazing? Almost 50 years since the Americans have won a medal in the event. He was in the individual sprint, just lightning fast, wins it. And then you saw him at the end. He's on the podium in the second position with the backflip off the podium, which was just amazing to see. In fact, I wasn't going to do this, Jessica, but for you guys, just because it's special, I'm going to give you a little backflip here, if that's okay. So let's you know, I got to concentrate a little bit, but let's go. Oh, gosh.
You nailed it. 10.
I hope you got to see. I stuck the landing. I hope it was great. Yeah, no.
The judges just gave you 10 out of 10. Jay, what are the events you're looking forward to today? You know, we got to get our medal count up a little bit in these winter games.
Yeah, and I think we've got a good chance today, Jessica. I think we're going to see some events like women's moguls, men's speed skating that will do great. And then you've got ice dancing. And, of course, that means Evan Bates, Madison Chock. They're the best on the ice doing that right now. They're the 3-time reigning world champions. Less than a point behind the gold medal spot. I think they're going to come out and dominate tonight. I think they're going to look great on the ice. If you get a chance, please watch it. It's going to be a lot of fun. I know it's must watch for me.
It absolutely must watch for all of us. Jay, thanks so much. Don't hurt your back on those backflips.
Thank you.
And we will see you later. And now we want to welcome cross-country skier Ben Ogden. As Jay just mentioned, he is the first American man to earn a medal for that sport in nearly 50 years. Ben, it is great to have you on the show this morning. Congratulations on your win. I want to start with what you did to celebrate last night.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm really honored. And yeah, yesterday was a total whirlwind. Just celebrated with my team here in Predazzo, and had some champagne and chatted about the everything that's led up to this moment. So it was really fantastic evening.
Love the champagne idea, and maybe a beer from Vermont later on today. You're just the second American man to ever win an Olympic cross-country skiing medal. What was going through your mind during that final sprint?
Good question. Yeah, it was a really crazy sensation. And, you know, in the final sprint to the end, I just was focusing on getting over the finish line and making sure nobody caught me from behind, because that goal felt more within reach then than it ever has. And I wanted to make sure I sealed the deal. And then once I got over the finish line was when the real emotions hit, and it was pretty incredible.
Well, real emotions that led you to do a backflip off the podium after winning your medal yesterday, which you said is tradition that you have done since high school. This is great, by the way. What does it mean for you to compete on the biggest world stage? And I'm also curious, for younger athletes, how do you mentally prepare for these races?
Yeah, good question for sure. It's been a long time since I did the podium flip, but I figured, you know, no bigger stage, and all those practice runs when I was young in high school, I figured I might as well go for it. So I went for it, and I'm glad to say I didn't slip or land on my head. But yeah, I mean, racing on the biggest stage is an incredible honor, and I'm really, really proud to be here. And I really hope that there are lots of young skiers back home in Vermont and in the U.S. that can look at this, our whole team here in Italy, and take some confidence knowing that it's within reach for all of them as well.
You know, you were really born into this in so many ways. I know your dad is a skier, your sister's a skier. Did young Ben know that he would make it to the Olympics?
I don't think so. Certainly, young Ben was primarily focused on the task at hand at any given day, which back then was normally building jumps and hitting rails on my cross-country skis, and having fun with my friends. But just like everything in life, you kind of work your way up, and then all of a sudden, going to the Olympics feels like an achievable goal, and you go out and tackle that, and then getting a medal at the Olympics feels like a goal that you can shoot for. And boy, it's a really special feeling to get to shoot for that and accomplish it. So I'm very thrilled.
And we're thrilled for you. And Ben, a lot is being made of this first medal in 50 years conversation. How much did that play into your preparation? Is the whole 50-year thing, half a century thing, something that you thought about?
I mean, certainly a little bit. I think it's always fun to think about the droughts in sports. I'm a Boston sports fan, so I wasn't alive for the majority of it, but I'll never forget the Curse of the Bambino.
Yes.
And that was an awesome moment, and it just made the 2004 World Series even more special. So, on the rainy days when I'm out training and cold and wondering what I'm doing in my life, I certainly think about the drought a little bit. But for the most part, I just kept believing and kept pushing, and I'm really proud to say that now it's over, I guess.
Well, let's not say it's over. What's next for you? What is your plan, for the immediate and the long-term future?
Yeah, that is a very good point. It's certainly not over. There's more ski racing to come here at these Olympics. We have some team events coming up next week. I'm really excited for the relay and the team sprint. Team sprint is 1 week from today. That's a big goal. And then there's, after that, there's more World Cup racing action to come. And really excitingly, there's a World Cup finals in Lake Placid, New York, which is a pretty unusual opportunity for us Americans. We generally race in Europe all season long. So I'm really excited to get to do some racing in front of the home crowd there in Lake Placid.
Yeah, I was going to say, and not too far from your home county of Bennington, Vermont. Is there a party waiting for you in Vermont when you get home?
I certainly suspect so, but, I try not to focus on these things because it's still a little ways out. But I think we'll have a good celebration when I get home, and it'll be great to see everybody who's been a part of this but wasn't able to be here in Italy. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Well, Ben Ogden, you have made Vermont proud. You have made the U.S. proud. We are so thrilled for you. Thank you so much for joining us today, and good luck in the rest of these games.
Thank you.
Take care. And you can catch all of the best Olympic action on Primetime in Milan, hosted by Mike Tirico, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern on NBC and streaming on Peacock. That does it for this hour of Morning News Now, but the news continues right now. Good morning. I'm Jessica Layton. It is good to be with you. I'm in for Joe and Savannah today. Right now on Morning News Now, chilling new video. The FBI says it is looking for persons of interest this morning in connection with Nancy Guthrie's disappearance after sharing these disturbing new images with the public. The surveillance footage shows an armed person wearing a mask and gloves at Guthrie's front door. The Sheriff's Department now says they have released a person detained in connection to the case just hours after the footage went out to the public. We have the latest on this investigation. Meanwhile, at the White House, weighing action, President Trump is expected to meet with Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu later this morning. The two leaders expected to discuss possible strikes against Iran's nuclear program as talks between the U.S. and Tehran continue. And on Capitol Hill in the hot seat, President Trump's administration continues to face mounting backlash over those Epstein files. Attorney General Pam Bondi expected to face some tough questions on the Hill later today over the Justice Department's redactions in the files. The latest from Washington coming up. Plus, a state of the job market. The first jobs report of 2026 is out today, and we are breaking down what these numbers mean for the economy and the labor market and your family later this hour. And finally, making history. We've got the latest from the Winter Olympic Games, including interviews with American athletes achieving historic wins in curling and cross-country skiing. Their tales of triumph, in their own words, coming up. But we begin this hour with dramatic new developments in the search for Nancy Guthrie. The 84-year-old mother of our NBC News colleague Savannah Guthrie vanished from her home in Arizona 11 days ago now. Overnight, the Pima County Sheriff's Department announcing deputies detained a person for questioning in connection with the case. Well, that man has now been released, according to the New York Times and other outlets. The Sheriff's Department declining to comment when asked by NBC News about those reports. But it, of course, comes just hours after the FBI released this new video and images of a person they're calling a potential subject in this investigation. The disturbing images show an armed person wearing mask and gloves approaching Nancy Guthrie's front door and then covering up the security camera. Law enforcement has not said whether there's any connection between the person they took in for questioning and the man seen, or rather the person seen in this video. NBC News correspondent Liz Kreutz joins me now with the latest from Tucson. Liz, good morning.
Well, hey there. Good morning. There were a lot of fast-moving developments overnight. Authorities did detain a man in connection to Nancy's disappearance. They searched a property south of Tucson, but there are still a lot of questions. A man who says he was the one that was detained then came out and told reporters he's now been released.
Just hours after these chilling images were released by the FBI, obtained from a Nest camera of an armed person wearing a mask and gloves outside Nancy Guthrie's home, last night officials detaining a man in connection with the case, but then releasing him, according to the New York Times. Pima County Sheriff's Office saying they questioned someone after a traffic stop and searched a house in nearby Rio Rico. This man, Carlos Palazuelos, saying he was stopped while working his delivery job.
They put me in the cop car. You gotta wait.
And then let go hours later.
I hope they get the suspect, because I'm not it.
Saying in another interview that it's possible he delivered packages to Nancy Guthrie's address, but he didn't know her. The sheriff's office not commenting, saying only that investigators completed their search of a property and the investigation is ongoing. The agonizing search entering its 11th day, with officials now hoping for leads from that newly released footage, which shows the subject tampering with Nancy's doorbell camera, at one point covering it with plants from her yard. Savannah reposting the video on Instagram, writing, "Someone out there recognizes this person. We believe she is still out there. Bring her home." Well, none of the images clearly show the person's face. In some, you can see what appears to be facial hair around the person's mouth, and in these, distinctively shaped eyebrows showing through the eye holes of the mask. A handgun can be seen here in a waist holster. The person also wearing gloves and carrying a backpack. Until now, investigators had not been able to retrieve any footage from Nancy's home.
You know, between the data getting to the server and the camera, there's stops in between, and there's going to be pieces of that data possibly that could be recovered.
FBI Director Kash Patel saying last night the agency had to work with private companies to get the footage.
We were able to execute lawful searches and go to these private sector companies and expedite results, and then go into their systems and actually excavate material that people would think would normally be deleted and no one would look for.
Patel also saying authorities were looking at persons of interest in the Tucson area.
And I do believe we are looking at people who, as we say, are persons of interest.
And since those terrifying images were released, the FBI says they have seen an increase in tips from the public. But again, still no suspect has been identified, and the Sheriff's Department has not said why it is they detained that person last night and if they had reason to believe it was the same person we've now all seen in those images. Back to you.
All right, Liz Kreutz, thanks so much. For more analysis on the investigation now, let's bring in NBC News law enforcement analyst Jim Kavanagh and former FBI special agent and hostage negotiator Carl Schmay. Good morning to you both. Jim, let's start with you. When you look at the video of this individual in front of the camera and then also walking up to the house through those arches, what does the way that this person sort of presents themselves, what does that tell you?
Well, some planning, some effort, some coordination, probably with a Confederate. You know, there's no professional kidnappers in America. We have those overseas, but we really don't have those. But they put a lot of effort in it. But, you know, he's not real adept. He's fighting with the Ring doorbell camera there. But he is masked. He's gloved. He's trying to prevent evidence from being retrieved. And I think there's some things here that the investigators can exploit. Of course, the main thing is the tips, because this dress is easily recognizable by a spouse or a girlfriend, a significant other, a relative, neighbor, coworker, even somebody who saw the guy probably on the Saturday before the abduction. He was probably wearing the same jacket, maybe even the backpack, sans mask, of course. And people carry guns routinely in Arizona, so that's nothing. I mean, people walk into stores and restaurants with pistols all the time, so, you know, he could even be carrying a gun, and that holster is very recognizable. So that's the main thing that they'll be able to exploit. But there's other things they can exploit here as well for good avenues of investigation.
And Carl, what does this video, these pictures tell you about this person's experience level or anything about the nature of the crime? Going off what Jim said, what do you see about the planning, picking up the flour to kind of cover up the camera? Did they do their homework?
No, Jessica, I don't think so. You know, what I saw here is someone who's not fully prepared. The fact that it appears they didn't know that that doorbell camera was there. They seemed to be surprised by it, which is why they then were looking for some bushes or some shrubbery to try to cover that up. If this guy had done his homework, he would have had some tape or maybe some paint or something to take care of that immediately. Also, the fact of the type of clothing he's wearing, you know, that backpack has some reflective material on it. That's not something you'd expect from somebody who's trying to be covert. At one point, it looks like he maybe puts like a flashlight in his mouth. Mm-hmm. Once again, someone who's trained would be wearing a headlamp to keep their hands free. The way he's carrying that gun, you know, in his waist like that, once again, someone who's tactically trained is not going to carry that kind of a holster nor carry it like that. So I see someone who, he's clearly dangerous because he's armed and he was still successful, but I don't see someone who's got a vast amount of experience in this.
Carl, we still don't know if there is a connection between this video and those unverified ransom notes that were sent to the local TV stations. But when you take this from a hostage negotiator perspective, does a video like this, which shows the person was armed, albeit in a sort of different way because it's holstered in the front, but does it impact the way law enforcement will go about attempting to communicate with those who are tied to this crime?
That's been one of the challenges of this case. So in order to have a successful negotiation, you need to have an open channel of communication, whether that be by phone, email, text. And from what we've been told, it sounds like there's been very limited communication with the kidnapper. You know, we can assume that the person at the door is associated with the kidnapping. And, you know, if those ransom notes are valid, yeah, law enforcement and the FBI is going to assume that that person is armed and dangerous. And it sounds like they've made some threats. That's very common with kidnappers. They like to set deadlines and make threats to put pressure on the family.
Jim Kavanagh and Carl Schmay, thanks so much for your perspective on a story that is very close to us here. Thank you. Well, the FBI says the release of those surveillance images showing a potential subject in Nancy Guthrie's disappearance has triggered a wave of new information coming from the public. NBC News senior national correspondent Kate Snow is here with more on why it could be the big break that so many of us have been hoping and praying for. Kate,
yeah, we really, really hope so, right? Jessica, thank you. You know, in the past, we have seen this many times where there seems to be no lead in a case at all. But as soon as authorities release images of a possible suspect, the floodgates floodgates open and critical tips start pouring in. The FBI is saying tips have dramatically increased since they put out those images yesterday, and that really could change everything.
This morning, hope that someone will recognize this masked person, their eyes still visible despite a full face covering, wearing a backpack, sneakers, and a gun holster, all details that could trigger someone to make a critical call. Experts say video like this can lead to breakthroughs, with the FBI hoping the public's response will move the investigation forward.
This investigation of this magnitude was going to require the public's assistance, which is why we put it out nearly immediately, the video, the photos, and sharpened images. And we continue to receive tips, and based upon that, we were able to expand the investigation.
It's happened many times before.
Well, he has his beanie pulled down, so the only thing you can see is his eyebrows.
That's the manager of a Pennsylvania McDonald's calling 911 after customers noticed Luigi Mangioni's distinctive eyebrows. The tip coming just one day after the police released this photo of the suspected assassin of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. And less than a week after this surveillance video showing the murder went viral.
We know the public will play a critical role in identifying and locating these individuals.
Surveillance video also expediting the capture of the two brothers responsible for the 2013 Boston Marathon bombing. Hours after the FBI released these images showing the Tsarnaev brothers at the marathon finish line, the publicity prompting a flood of tips that led to their capture. And more recently, in the Charlie Kirk shooting, suspect Tyler Robinson turned himself in at the urging of his parents after photos and this video of the shooter running away from the scene were made public.
His picture in the news, the gun on the news, he knew it was inevitable that he would be caught.
And then just last December, after the Brown University shootings, a post on Reddit around the FBI poster containing photos of a suspect led to a man saying police needed to look into a gray Nissan.
That person led us to the car, which led us to the name, which led us to the photographs of that individual renting the car, which matched the clothing of our shooter here in Providence.
Now, law enforcement hoping this video will spark a response, with the Guthrie family calling on members of the public to once again step up.
Already online, people are poring over every detail of the photos and the videos, from the shape of the person's eyebrows to the jacket he was wearing, trying to identify the sneakers he wore, the brand of the backpack. So often, Jess, it is the one little thing that somebody out there notices and calls authorities about, and that changes everything.
And that's why it's so important to keep taking a look at these pictures. You don't know what you don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, Kate, thank you so much. We take you now to Capitol Hill, where pressure is mounting on U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, who for the first time yesterday confirmed that he did visit Jeffrey Epstein's island. The admission comes after his name appeared several times in the most recent release of the Epstein files. And today, Attorney General Pam Bondi will be on Capitol Hill to defend her department's transparency surrounding those Epstein files. NBC Chief Capitol Hill correspondent Ryan Nobles joins me now with the latest from Washington. Ryan, good morning.
Hey, Jessica, good morning. And Attorney General Bondi has taken heat from both Republicans and Democrats over the slow release of the Epstein files and the volume of redactions. She's expected to take tough questions, including potentially about what did and what did not get redacted, as the Trump administration continues to navigate the Epstein controversy. Today on Capitol Hill, Attorney General Pam Bondi will be front and center as members of Congress continue their calls for transparency.
Who are they protecting? Why are they protecting these rich and powerful men?
Members reviewing the unredacted Epstein files plan to press Bondi over what was redacted and why. Congressman Ro Khanna taking to the House floor to name names of rich and powerful men whose names were protected. Bondi, not the only Trump cabinet secretary on the hot seat. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick once insisted he had cut all ties with Jeffrey Epstein.
My wife and I decided that I will never be in the room with that disgusting person ever again.
The files revealed he had considerable contact with the convicted sex offender well past 2005. Lutnick refusing to answer our questions.
Why did you mischaracterize your relationship with him, sir?
But in a Senate hearing, denying any tie to Epstein.
I barely had anything to do with that person.
But then admitted he had paid a visit to Epstein's infamous private island.
I had another couple with They were there as well with their children, and we had lunch on the island.
Some Democrats believe he should step down from the cabinet.
He told the nation that he'd had no such association, and it turns out that was wrong, and that's why he should resign.
All this as the Epstein survivors push Congress to extend the statute of limitations on certain sex crimes, with the hope justice will eventually be served.
We need to make it easier to punish those who victimize others.
And Secretary Lutnick has not been accused of any crime. Republican Congressman Tom Massey from Kentucky has called for him to resign. But White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said that Lutnick remains a very important member of Trump's team. Jess?
All right, Ryan, thanks so much. Breaking this morning, all flights to and from El Paso International Airport are grounded for what the FAA is calling special security reasons. The agency has issued a temporary flight restriction over El Paso, classifying the airspace as national defense airspace. This restriction is in effect through February 21st. Here's what air traffic control told pilots.
So for 10 days, you guys are not open.
Well, we'll be here, but no air traffic.
An FAA spokesperson tells NBC News they cannot comment beyond what has already been released. NBC News senior correspondent Tom Costello has more.
Yeah, this is an extremely unusual event. Without any notice, the FAA has completely shut down flights into and from the El Paso area, citing unspecified special security reasons. The U.S. has a very big military base there, as you know, Fort Bliss, but our Pentagon correspondent, Courtney Cubie, says there is no indication that this is related to any sort of military exercise. In the decades I've covered aviation, I'm not aware of any situation like this other than the airspace in and around New York being closed following 9/11. This order is in effect for 10 days until February 20th, and it includes all commercial, cargo, and general aviation flights. The NOTAM, or Notice to Airmen, says the area is now national defense airspace, and if a pilot violates the order and poses an imminent security threat, the FAA says the U.S. government may use deadly force. I used to work in El Paso. It's a city of just under 1 million people. That airport serves a huge expanse of western Texas and parts of New Mexico. American, Southwest, Delta, United all serve El Paso. Without that airport, people will have to fly out of Albuquerque, 270 miles away, 300 miles to Midland, Texas, or Tucson, 550 miles to San Antonio. Already people are stuck at the airport this morning, unable to leave. And of course, El Paso sits right on the border. If you fly into El Paso, even from U.S. airspace, you might, in fact, pass through Mexican airspace before you then cut back over into El Paso. The airport is advising all travelers to contact the airlines directly. And apart from daily travel, this could have a big issue, a big impact for the daily supply chain, right? Since services like the Postal Service, FedEx, UPS will all be impacted. The Pentagon referring questions to the FAA. The FAA says all it has is the Notice to Airmen that it has issued. Back to you.
It could be a mess. All right, Tom, thanks so much. We are finally going to be getting a slight break from the cold as temperatures rise from the southwest to the southeast. We've got all the details with your Morning News Now weather. Meteorologist Andrea Romero joining us now with the good news. Hi, Andrea.
Hi, we are expecting those warm temperatures for most of the country, as we can see, 15 to 25 degrees above average, closer to average along the northeast and close to average along the west coast. So temperature-wise, we're looking at 70s and 60s from the southwest into the Mississippi Valley, into the southeast, and we're looking maybe in the northern plains, 40s and 50s along the Midwest as well. Here in the northeast, 20s and 30s. That area, we are dealing with some snow due to that lake effect snow that's moving off Lake Erie, Lake Ontario. We do have some winter weather advisories for the Tug Hill Plateau and into Maine, where we're expecting maybe up to 6 inches of snowfall today. Now, the unsettled weather pattern continues out west. We have that Pacific system continuing to bring in that moisture into California. We do have the chance of some flash flooding, some flooding setting up in that area. This rain will begin to spread to the Great Basin and the Rockies into tomorrow. We are expecting snow for some elevated areas of Colorado, of Utah, and of course we need snow in that area, especially in those ski slopes. Now, we do have the potential of some heavy rainfall for the southern tier of the country Friday into the weekend. The possibility of some flash flooding, even especially over parts of Arkansas, Texas, maybe even northern Louisiana. And that's due to the system that will be moving along the southern part of the country. We're expecting beneficial rain, yes, because that area is drought stricken, but sometimes too much of a good thing can be bad, and we could have some flooding occur, especially Saturday into Sunday. Now, the big question is, once this storm system moves offshore, how will it impact the Northeast, the I-95 corridor? Right now, we're keeping the system offshore, missing most of the Northeast. However, a slight track to the north can bring some heavy snowfall to those areas. So we'll keep track of that.
Yeah, and let's hope it doesn't move, because I think that all of us in the Northeast, we want a little break from the cold and the storms right now.
Yes, especially Saturdays, Valentine's Day.
Exactly. Well, thank you, Andrea. Much more to come here on Morning News Now. Later this hour, celebrity legal battle. Actors Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni set to meet face-to-face today in court for the first time since Lively filed a complaint back in 2024. We are digging in to what we can expect from the courtroom. But up first, making history. We're talking to the American curling duo about their historic win at the Winter Games. That's next. Back now with the latest on the 2026 Milan Cortina Winter Olympic Games. It was an historic win for the women's hockey team, who posted a 5-0 shutout against arch rival Canada. And Madison Chalk and Evan Bates go back on the ice later today, hoping to capture their first Olympic medals in ice dancing after finishing 4th in Beijing. NBC News international correspondent Claudio Lavanga is in Milan and joins us now with more. Claudio, good morning. Let's start with one of the most talked about names in skating right now, Ilya Malinin. How did he do yesterday, and when will he be back on the ice?
Good morning, Jessica. Well, it was a great night for Ilya. He couldn't have done better, honestly, last night. Despite the pressure, he wowed the audience with some of his trademark moves. The backflip, of course, scary and beautiful. The quad flip, and also the one thing that he only does, the raspberry twist. And in case you don't know that, Jessica, here's a bit of Olympics trivia. Well, it's called a raspberry twist. It's a bit of a playful nod to his surname and Russian heritage, because Malina means raspberry in Russian, of course, Jessica.
Oh, I love that. I had no idea. Okay, and Claudio, what about that women's hockey match between Team USA and Canada? What were some of the highlights, and then what now for our ladies?
Yeah, that was also an amazing match. It ended 5-0, as you mentioned, and that is the greatest, largest win for any United States ice hockey team, men and women, against Canada in history. And because this was seen as a preview of the potential final, hopefully they'll be back for the final, the U.S. and Canada, as everybody expects. Well, hopefully, the U.S. will keep it up and repeat itself.
And I'm a nerd when it comes to curling. I love it. I think it's so fascinating, and I am so thrilled for our American duo. Let's talk about them.
Yeah, it was a thrilling final. In the end, unfortunately, Sweden beat the Team USA by literally 1 point in the last end. But it was still a great result for Team USA with the silver medal. And since we're talking about Olympics trivia and curiosity, Jessica, well, the Swedish team, the mixed double, was made of a brother and a sister. And it was not the only siblings that won a medal yesterday. The Olympics also, a brother and a sister, they won bronze from Belgium. They won bronze in the short track mixed relay. So, stays in the family. Jessica.
That is so cool. Their parents must be so proud. And let's close with Team USA super duo Madison Chalk and Evan Bates. Their final 2026 Olympic event, ice dance, is later today. Claudio, how do you think it's looking for them?
Well, that's right. That's going to happen at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. Of course, everybody's looking out for that. They finished second after the French couple on Monday in the rhythm dance, but by a very, very tiny margin. So hopefully they'll manage to bridge that gap later on with the free dance skate. Jessica.
All right, Claudio, lots to look forward to today. Thanks so much. And this morning, we are so thrilled to be joined by the silver medal winning curling duo themselves, Corey Dropkin and Corey Teesey, the Curling Corys. Good morning to you both. It's great to see you. has reality sunk in yet that you are the first American team to win a medal in Olympic mixed doubles curling? And then I'm also curious how you celebrated last night.
No, it definitely hasn't sunk in yet. I don't think it'll sink in for a while. It's just been a surreal week, and we're just so proud of the way that we played this week. And, you know, the goal of this team 4 years ago was to make it to the Olympics, and, you know, here we are. And we've worked so hard for this moment, and just, you know, there was 10 great teams there this week that could have been on the podium easily, and I'm really proud of the way that we just persevered through the week and, you know, trusted in ourselves and trusted all the work that we put in, and finished on the podium. It's a huge day for USA Curling, and, you know, fun that so many people were able to watch our games back home and get excited about our sport. We love showcasing our sport, and also to be able to do this with our families here. We were able to finally celebrate with them last night. You know, we're not alone in this. It takes a village to be able to do what we do, and we're just so lucky to have the support system that we have.
And what about you, Corey, with a K?
Yeah, it was an amazing week. I mean, honestly, it's just an honor to be able to be here, represent Team USA, come home with silver medals. It's a dream come true, be able to have our family here, so many friends cheering us on, be able to just display our sport at its best, and be able to share our love and our passion for curling, and how, you know, complex and strategical and physically demanding it can be. And we love this sport. We wanted to share that worldwide and for everyone back home, and we did that. And just to appreciate, you know, being able to, you know, be fighting for medals with this teammate here and come home with some silver.
Corey Teese, you're the first American woman to win any Olympic curling medal ever. What does that mean to you? And then, you know, every couple of years we see curling take the spotlight. There's a lot of young American girls and women who are watching you make history now. What's your message to them?
Yeah, I still get goosebumps when you say that. It's pretty amazing, and it's been a long time coming to have a female up on that podium. And you know, I know how important it was for me to have people to look up to when I was a young girl just starting out in curling, and I just hope that I can be that inspiration for girls growing up in the United States right now as curlers to, you know, just dream big, work hard, and hopefully we'll see lots more women up on that podium.
Corey Dropkin, talk to me about the pride in seeing this sport that I know that you have had a passion for so long, how it continues to grow and become more popular, especially with it being highlighted so much in the Olympics.
Yeah, every 4 years the sport goes wild. Everyone loves watching curling, and you know, to be in, you know, part of that spotlight, to be able to just demonstrate, you know, our passion for the sport and the sport at its finest is an honor. You know, I grew up into the sport really young. It kind of just grew up as, like, you know, the curling club being my daycare center for the most part. Following my brother around, he was my little hero. You know, watching him from behind the glass, the sheet beside him even, you know, throwing stone after stone and trying to, you know, mimic what he and his team were doing. It's just such an honor to be here, be part of Team USA, and you know, be able to display my love for the sport on the ice and with the greatest teammate ever. You know, it's been an amazing week being in front of the crowd, all of our family and friends. You know, being able to share the energy and circulate that type of energy and all those cheers throughout the stadium. It's been just such a special week.
And then real quick, what will you do for the rest of your time in Italy?
Well, I'm for sure going to be cheering on this girl and her ladies team as well as our men's team as they start competition. The men's team's game is tonight, their first game, and you play tomorrow morning. Quick turnaround for her. As well as want to see some other sports here too. You know, bobsled and skeleton are be starting up here soon, and want to make sure I support all of Team USA.
Amazing. As he just mentioned, Corey Teese, you're not done. We are wishing you all the luck in the world. The Curling Corys, we thank you so much. Congrats on your silver medal. Back now with our weekly medical checkup. And this week, we're bridging the gap between the mind and the body with the best exercises to help protect your mental health. Plus, there is good news for coffee and tea lovers, all of us on this shift. Those cups of coffee may actually help keep dementia away. Here to break down these health headlines and more is NBC News medical contributor Dr. Akshay Sayal. Dr. Sayal, great to have you. I want to start with a study which pinpoints the most important factors that may cause food allergies in kids. As a mom to a child with a nut allergy, I have racked my brain trying to figure out if we could have done anything different. What does this study tell us?
Good morning. Yeah, so, this is, as you just pointed out, this is a bit of controversial or sort of hot topic in medicine recently. And, we've seen a surge in food allergies over the years, and researchers have kind of sort of wondered why and what might be going on. And so, Jessica, this was a large study out of McMaster University. Nearly 3 million kids were analyzed. And you can see on the screen there, they've identified some risk factors, people who may be more likely to experience those food allergies, people who have eczema during the first year of life, waiting too long to introduce certain foods, which I'll get to in a second. Using antibiotic use, or even having siblings or family members with food allergies, all can make those kids higher risk of having food allergies. And the reason, Jessica, this is so important is because if we find out who may be at high risk with more research, we can potentially intervene earlier. And so the doctor's orders, as we love to do in this segment, control what you can and make sure that you are introducing some of those allergy-prone foods early. So, you just alluded to this about when to introduce things. The American Academy of Pediatrics typically recommends about 4 to 6 months of age is when you start to introduce things like, first you start with low allergy things like cereal, for example, or bananas, eventually working your way up to potentially including peanuts. And we think the earlier you can do that, the less likely they are to have problems down the line.
Next, we know that exercise is really important for overall health, but a review of studies found that certain kinds of exercise may be able to help treat symptoms of depression and anxiety. So we have heard before that exercise is medicine. What is the best approach to benefit from these positive results?
Yeah, this was another large study, a large review study looking at about 800 or so papers, and really finding that cardiovascular exercise can reduce symptoms of depression and anxiety, really to the point, Jessica, as good or if not better than certain medications and talk therapies. And really what we're talking about are group classes. They can help reduce symptoms of depression and anxiety. And I've actually been trying to get some of my family members to do this, who maybe can't get the sort of motivation to get into the gym, to signing up for some of those classes, because there's a big social component to it, right? You're surrounded by a bunch of people all sort of there for the same goal, all working out in unison. So definitely something you want to try if you are suffering from symptoms of depression or anxiety. But Jessica, the doctor's orders here, try to incorporate some of that exercise routine, some of those group classes we just talked about, but please don't stop your ongoing treatments without talking to your doctor. So for example, if you are taking medications for depression or anxiety, don't throw them in the garbage bin and start working out. You want to make sure that your doctor is aware should you want to stop coming off of them. Jessica?
And then finally, doctor, researchers are saying that our brains may actually benefit from a little caffeine every day. Break this one down for us, because everyone here on this shift is very curious.
I always love when we can talk about coffee segments on the morning show. The irony is not lost on me. But, this was essentially a paper from Mass General, looking at over 100,000 individuals. What they found that 2 to 3 cups of coffee or 1 to 2 cups of tea are linked to a lower risk of dementia, about 300 milligrams of caffeine specifically. Now, this is not a cause and effect study. This does not prove that taking caffeine will directly lower your risk of dementia. It also does not say for people who, don't drink coffee or tea to start drinking it. But the doctor's orders here, keep refilling those cups if you are somebody like me who is a daily coffee drinker, and know other things you can do to reduce your risk of Alzheimer's. Everything that's good for your heart is also good for your brain, whether that's blood sugar, blood pressure, cholesterol, all of that matters.
Well, that gives me the confidence to go get another cup right after this segment. Dr. Sayal, great to see you, and thanks for joining us. Much more to come right after this. We're back with some breaking news now. The first U.S. jobs report of 2026 just came out moments ago, and the data shows 130,000 jobs were added in January, and the unemployment rate remains mostly steady at 4.3%. But the big story here is revisions. It comes during a concerning economic moment where inflation is still high and the job market has been weakening. NBC News senior business correspondent Christine Romans is here now to break down the numbers. Christine, good morning. Walk us through the January job numbers. How close is it to what we were expecting? And then the big headline here, what did we learn about revisions for 2025?
January was strong, 130,000, pardon my kindergarten drawing here, but 130,000. That's a pretty decent number overall. There were revisions, though, here and here. So you had the year ending weaker than we thought, but then a pretty strong start to the year. But this is the big number I wanted to tell you about here. The big number here is we thought that there were 584,000 jobs created in 2025. That was the weakest year for job creation outside of a recession since 2003. The government has revised those figures, trying to get a handle among these government shutdowns and big changes in Washington about trade policy, immigration policy, AI coming on the scene, so companies don't have to hire as many people. This number is now 181,000 jobs created last year. That is the weakest year for jobs since at least 2003. That
Wow.
is just essentially the average last year was about 15,000 jobs added every month. That is barely any job creation. So that is, I think, what the real headline is from these numbers. The revisions to last year showing a labor market that basically was not moving forward.
So then, Christine, break down what the revisions mean for the reality of the unemployment rate.
So the unemployment rate still here relatively low, 4.3%. This break you see here is because of the government shutdown. The reason why we're talking about these numbers on a Wednesday, not a Friday, is because of the government shutdown. So you can see there's been some difficulty here in gathering data and being timely with what we're doing here. But a 4.3% unemployment rate is still historically pretty good. But what we're watching here with some concern is just how slow the job creation has been suddenly. Diane Swank, who's the chief economist at KPMG, is calling this a jobless boom. What does that mean, Jessica? The economy, all of these, the stock market, the economic growth, they look like they're doing great, but you're not seeing job creation along with it.
Where did we see the job gains, Christine, and did they stack up against inflation?
You know, so we saw leisure and hospitality essentially flat. We saw manufacturing essentially flat. That has been going down since last April. We saw the federal government jobs down, but we saw healthcare up 82,000. So you're still seeing a lot of energy in healthcare. And you asked me about wages. Wages, 3.7%. So that's essentially how much the typical paycheck is growing annually, 3.7%. Inflation is 2.7%. So on paper, we know there's affordability conversation. We know people feel like they're being nickeled and dimed by the cost of living. But at least on paper, wages are rising faster than stated inflation. So that should be good for family budgets. But again, watching with some concern the real slow nature of job creation in 2025. And then you saw this 130,000 jobs added in 2026. So there's a lot here for people to kind of chew over.
Yeah, and Christine, great job with a great breakdown of some very brand new information. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Well, Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni will meet in a New York City courtroom today for a court-ordered settlement conference. It is the first time they'll be face-to-face in court since their legal battle began back in December 2024. That's after Lively filed a complaint against Baldoni, accusing him of sexual harassment and retaliation on the set of that film, It Ends With Us. NBC News entertainment correspondent Chloe Malas is here to break it all down. Chloe, great to see you. Good morning. This is sort of a last-ditch effort to try to get these two to a resolution before the scheduled trial gets underway in May. It also comes after one of Baldoni's lawyers quit yesterday. What do you think we'll see during today's hearing?
Well, first of all, this is a court-ordered settlement conference. So it's not like Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively's legal teams decided, hey, let's meet and try to mediate ahead of trial. This is something that the judge has encouraged both sides come to the table and try to reach a happy medium because the trial process is very public and incredibly grueling. And he wants them to really understand what's at stake. But it's not their judge that's been presiding over the last few hearings. It's a magistrate judge. Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni will both be in Lower Manhattan today at 10:30. This is closed to the press, closed to the public. No one will really know what happens inside this conference today because it's absolutely confidential. This could last several hours, and you're going to see Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni's legal teams present their side to the judge for about 15 minutes or so each. Then Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni can address the judge. It's very unlikely that they are going to be talking and conversing with one another. Then, just to give everybody a little inside look as to what's going to go on, then they go into separate rooms. And the judge goes back and forth between those two rooms. If you can imagine him running back and forth, saying like a game of telephone, all right, this is what Blake Lively's team is saying. Justin Baldoni, this is what their team is saying. And we'll see if they come to some sort of a resolution. The likelihood that it could be today would be probably slim to none.
Yeah.
But you could see them potentially make some headway and then meet again.
Or even some small concessions. So, Chloe, you know, this is one of Hollywood's messiest legal battles in years. How has it affected both of their livelihoods, maybe some projects that they had coming up?
So a source close to Blake Lively telling NBC News that she is really focused on her family, her kids, her husband, Ryan Reynolds, and this trial that is expected to begin this spring. But that she does have a project that was announced this summer called The Survivors List, and that's with Lionsgate. She's going to be producing and starring in that. They have not started production on this film. She also has a really successful hair care line and a beverage line, and the source said that she has upcoming launches. Now, when it comes to Justin Baldoni, remember, he is part of Wayfarer Studios. That's the film company that actually produced It Ends With Us. They have done a lot of successful projects over the last several years, but on their website, it doesn't show anything slated for 2026. And when NBC News, when we reached out to Justin Baldoni's team for comment about his career and projects, they declined to say anything.
Well, I'll tell you what, this has captivated my entire mom's chat. We are watching it closely. Chloe Malas, thank you so much. Coming up, cross-country champion. We're talking one-on-one with the cross-country skier who is ending a 50-year Olympic victory drought for Team USA. That's next. Back now with highlights from a historic day at the 2026 Olympic Winter Games in Milan Cortina. From ending a 50-year American medal drought in men's cross-country skiing to the first American woman to win a curling medal, Team USA has a lot to celebrate this morning. And celebrating with them is NBC News correspondent Jay Gray. He is in Milan and joins us with the latest. Jay, good morning. Let's start with one of our favorite winter sports, curling. Team USA, they made history yesterday.
Yeah, it was amazing, Jessica, and such a tight match. The gold medal match, Team USA going for it, and the Coreys, the curling Coreys making history. We'll start with Corey Tesi. She's the first American woman to ever win a medal in curling for Team USA. And then you've got her partner, Corey Dropkin. That duo, the first ever in mixed doubles to win a medal. The match came down to the final stone. Unfortunately, Sweden had the hammer, knocked the USA out, won by 1 point, but golly, what a showing. It was a great job by Team USA, and really proud to see them take to the podium.
I'm so proud of them, too. Let's also talk about last night's hockey match. The U.S. women's team beating Canada 5-0. I don't know if anyone saw that coming, but it's the largest U.S. win over Canada in Olympic hockey, men or women ever. Tell me what that arena was like last night.
It was electric. I got the chance to be there, and it was so great to see this team. They came out early, scored early. They were first to the puck every time. They were all over the ice. They gave the Canadians the business a couple of times in the corners, and they made sure they knew that they were there to stay. Think about this. Team Canada, women's hockey, has only lost 4 games total in all of their Olympic history, all of those to the U.S., so go Team USA. And they've never been shut out until last night. So that was a big win, a historic win for the women. And now they go into the medal round, and they look like the team to beat.
Well, and speaking of historic wins, Jay, cross-country skier Ben Ogden is the first American to win a medal for the sport in nearly 50 years. So let's talk about him and this phenomenal accomplishment.
Isn't that amazing? Almost 50 years since the Americans have won a medal in the event. He was in the individual sprint, just lightning fast, wins it. And then you saw him at the end. He's on the podium in the second position with the backflip off the podium, which was just amazing to see. In fact, I wasn't going to do this, Jessica, but for you guys, just because it's special, I'm going to give you a little backflip here, if that's okay. So let's you know, I got to concentrate a little bit, but let's go. Oh, gosh.
You nailed it. 10.
I hope you got to see. I stuck the landing. I hope it was great. Yeah, no.
The judges just gave you 10 out of 10. Jay, what are the events you're looking forward to today? You know, we got to get our medal count up a little bit in these winter games.
Yeah, and I think we've got a good chance today, Jessica. I think we're going to see some events like women's moguls, men's speed skating that will do great. And then you've got ice dancing. And, of course, that means Evan Bates, Madison Chock. They're the best on the ice doing that right now. They're the three-time reigning world champions. Less than a point behind the gold medal spot. I think they're going to come out and dominate tonight. I think they're going to look great on the ice. If you get a chance, please watch it. It's going to be a lot of fun. I know it's must watch for me.
It absolutely must watch for all of us. Jay, thanks so much. Don't hurt your back on those back flips.
Thank you.
And we will see you later. And now we want to welcome cross-country skier Ben Ogden. As Jay just mentioned, he is the first American man to earn a medal for that sport in nearly 50 years. Ben, it is great to have you on the show this morning. Congratulations on your win. I want to start with what you did to celebrate last night.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm really honored, and yeah, yesterday was a total whirlwind. Just celebrated with my team here in Predazzo, and had some champagne and chatted about the everything that's led up to this moment. So it was really fantastic evening.
Love the champagne idea, and maybe a beer from Vermont later on today. You're just the second American man to ever win an Olympic cross-country skiing medal. What was going through your mind during that final sprint?
Good question. Yeah, it was a really crazy sensation. And, you know, in the final sprint to the end, I just was focusing on getting over the finish line and making sure nobody caught me from behind, because that goal felt more within reach then than it ever has. And I wanted to make sure I sealed the deal. And then once I got over the finish line was when the real emotions hit, and it was pretty incredible.
Well, real emotions that led you to do a backflip off the podium after winning your medal yesterday, which you said is tradition that you have done since high school. This is great, by the way. What does it mean for you to compete on the biggest world stage? And I'm also curious, for younger athletes, how do you mentally prepare for these races?
Yeah, good question for sure. It's been a long time since I did the podium flip, but I figured, you know, no bigger stage, and all those practice runs when I was young in high school, I figured I might as well go for it. So I went for it, and I'm glad to say I didn't slip or land on my head. But yeah, I mean, racing on the biggest stage is an incredible honor, and I'm really proud to be here. And I really hope that there are lots of young skiers back home in Vermont and in the U.S. that can look at this, our whole team here in Italy, and take some confidence knowing that it's within reach for all of them as well.
You know, you were really born into this in so many ways. I know your dad is a skier, your sister's a skier. Did young Ben know that he would make it to the Olympics?
I don't think so. Certainly, young Ben was primarily focused on the task at hand at any given day, which back then was normally building jumps and hitting rails on my cross country skis, and having fun with my friends. But just like everything in life, you kind of work your way up, and then all of a sudden, going to the Olympics feels like an achievable goal, and you go out and tackle that, and then getting a medal at the Olympics feels like a goal that you can shoot for. And boy, it's a really special feeling to get to shoot for that and accomplish it. So I'm very thrilled.
And we're thrilled for you. And Ben, a lot is being made of this first medal in 50 years conversation. How much did that play into your preparation? Is the whole 50-year thing, half a century thing, something that you thought about?
I mean, certainly a little bit. I think it's always fun to think about the droughts in sports. I'm a Boston sports fan, so I wasn't alive for the majority of it, but I'll never forget the Curse of the Bambino.
Yes.
And that was an awesome moment, and it just made the 2004 World Series even more special. So, on the rainy days when I'm out training and cold and wondering what I'm doing in my life, I certainly think about the drought a little bit. But for the most part, I just kept believing and kept pushing, and I'm really proud to say that now it's over, I guess.
Well, let's not say it's over. What's next for you? What is your plan, for the immediate and the long-term future?
Yeah, that is a very good point. It's certainly not over. There's more ski racing to come here at these Olympics. We have some team events coming up next week. I'm really excited for the relay and the team sprint. Team sprint is 1 week from today. That's a big goal. And then there's, after that, there's more World Cup racing action to come. And really excitingly, there's a World Cup finals in Lake Placid, New York, which is a pretty unusual opportunity for us Americans. We generally race in Europe all season long, so I'm really excited to get to do some racing in front of the home crowd there in Lake Placid.
Yeah, I was going to say, and not too far from your home county of Bennington, Vermont. Is there a party waiting for you in Vermont when you get home?
I certainly suspect so, but you know, I try not to focus on these things because it's still a little ways out, but I think we'll have a good celebration when I get home, and it'll be great to see everybody who's been a part of this but wasn't able to be here in Italy, so I'm really looking forward to that.
Well, Ben Ogden, you have made Vermont proud. You have made the U.S. proud. We are so thrilled for you. Thank you so much for joining us today, and good luck in the rest of these games.
Thank you.
Take care. And you can catch all of the best Olympic action on Primetime in Milan, hosted by Mike Tirico, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern on NBC and streaming on Peacock. That does it for this hour of Morning News Now, but the news continues right now.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.